Hi, my name is Min, and this is my monthly project. With the name I don't know yet, but I'll choose one soon. But this is a chance for me to actually find more about the topic that I always wanted to know, or answer a question that I always want to know, and share with you guys. And this month I've decided to do on a park called Superkilen. Currently, I'm in Denmark doing an exchange in Copenhagen University, and this month, where I start off the monthly project, I wanted to do something more local. And for me, Superkilen was a park that interested me because I have a natural interest in ethnicity and race. So this was a perfect park for me. And this month I've been working with Taeyeon about finding more about this park, and she's been more focused on the bigger picture of the whole process of the urban renewal of the Copenhagen itself, and I've been more focused on this park and this area. This park did more than what usual parks do. First, improve the quality of life people living around it, which is what usual parks do. But then what I was really more interested about was the social integration that this park did to the diverse amount of people that were living in this area. And that's what fascinated me into this project. So here's my project for this month. So the park I researched, Superkilen, is located inside the suburban area called Nørrebro. And I cannot pronounce that word properly yet, but I will try. And this place was originally really famous for its conflicts, crimes, and its ethnic diversity. I'll start talking about the ethnic diversity first. And this place right now, currently 28% of its residents are the first generation or the second generation of immigrants. And there's a lot of diversity, not just the ethnicity itself as well. There's actually a lot of different age groups, there are social units, and this place has a lot of income difference as well. And this place represents a lot of diversity. But I would like to highlight on the diversity on its ethnicity because of its immigration history. So in late 1800s, a lot of immigrants started to come to the area Nørrebro. And it was because this place was really cheap place for immigrants to start because of its deep poverty and its conflicts. But then usually a diversity doesn't lead to a peaceful situation. It sometimes leads to a conflicts, and this part is really famous for its conflicts as well. In 2008, there was an uprising from the youth immigrants against the police brutality against immigrants living here. So Copenhagen wanted to change this because they wanted to change the place symbolized of crime and conflict into somewhere it's attraction, better architecture. To develop Nørrebro, urban planners have decided to create a park called Superkilen, and it's exactly where I'm filming right now. It's got its name from the shape of the park, which it looks like a wedge, which is the kiln in part of the name. And to me, it was really fascinating to see what this park could do, because I couldn't imagine bringing social integration of the residents just by building one park. So the special aspect about this park, for me, was the ethnic objects that were installed during the installation of this park. So for the project team to bring social integration into this park, they wanted to bring different kind of ethnic objects that residents will feel like they're at home. And in total, they brought 108 different ethnic objects from 62 different nations. And for me, what was actually more interesting about this was that the method of how they brought these ethnic objects. So the normal methods were carried out. So the invitation through a direct call to the community, the magazines, the brochures, the online advertisement, they're all placed. But then what was special about this was that the company called Superflex, one of the company that were in charge of this process, wanted to implement this concept called participation extreme. And what this concept is that they wanted to bring residents who are living in this area. They would normally be left out in this process of bringing ethnic objects into this place, but then they were invited directly through this company to participate this process. And the objects that were normally not be considered to be in park were invited, and they were placed right now in the park. And for me, the most memorable ethnic objects are the Japanese octopus slides, the 3 tons of soil came from Palestine, and the boxing ring, the Muay Thai boxing ring from Thailand. I really believe that Superkilen had a great positive impact on Nørrebro area, and I would like to highlight these 2 positive impacts that Superkilen did. And first one is its crimes in this area, where Nørrebro was a symbolization for its conflicts and its crimes. There was a high crime rate, but then after Superkilen was built, the crime rate has reduced a lot. And this is first because of its lighting installation, where there's a lot of the lighting installed throughout the park for a nighttime uses, so people can safely go across this area without being too scared about it. And second one was its traffic flow, where there is a cycle lane and a pedestrian road for the good flow between the east side of the town and the west side of the town, where it used to be blocked by a fence area. There was a high level of crime because it was so divided, and there was an income divide between the east side and the west side. And the park really helped with that, is that they reduced that disparity and they brought it all together and integrated it into one part, not just the rich side or the poor side. It became integrated into more one safe place for residents to go flow between. The second positive impact that Superkilen did on Nørrebro was its social integration. And I would like to highlight on the ethnic diversity because this is my really interesting area, where I really can see from my observation and news articles that ethnic diverse people are integrated into society and actually hang out. It became from a conflict between those 2 parties with the Danes and non-Danes, from a place where they can all hang out as one, and they just feel more belong at home as well. For residents and immigrants who live here, they feel like Nørrebro is more their home because there's ethnic objects that are symbolized, and there's just people hanging out every day. And for Danes, it became a place, a reminder that there are different kind of ethnic people living in Nørrebro as well, and they've integrated themselves into one by being in this park. And I think this was something really amazing that I didn't expect in normal parks. So to me, Superkilen was a really interesting and meaningful project that I really wanted to know more about, because I have an interest in ethnicity and racism, and I was always wondering about how can we resolve these issues that we have all around the world. And when somebody asks me this question, and I would naturally go, we have to face institutionalized racism, and second, we have to educate through cultural events and education system. But then these processes are long, costly, and ineffective in reality. So I was always wondering, how can we do this better? And to me, what I saw in Superkilen is an opportunity for other parts of the world to actually follow this model and actually try something more like this, where ethnic objects were placed to feel people more at home, and doing a participation extreme concept where you bring people who usually not be in process of these kind of projects, and bringing those people to participate and actually feel more at home. And I think these can be done all around the world as well. And something I took note is that this was possible because Copenhagen as a general had a bottom-up urban renewal policy where it was not top-down, so they wanted more people to participate as well. So I think this model can be overall be followed everywhere in the world. So I hope this video shed some light on Copenhagen as a general, or maybe just Nørrebro area itself as well, and the Superkilen Park. Thank you very much. 2, 3